One more minute and we'll get started. Video is recording and we'll kick things off. All right, we'll go ahead and start. Thanks everyone for joining us for our one-shot Arcathon hosted with Campus Arc. This is our first hackathon that we've done as UXly software. We just started building as a group. We are bootstrapping a platform called One Shot API, and we just released it to the public not long ago, and we thought a fun thing to do would be to host a hackathon like this to see how people might use our platform, One Shot. It is a Web3 infrastructure platform. It does a lot of things for you, which we're going to walk through briefly here in a second. It has tools for enterprise-grade hot wallets. So as far as that goes, think of platforms like Kraken or Coinbase, where you go to buy cryptocurrencies or digital assets. These huge companies have massive infrastructure that they've built internally, which are not offered as tools to developers for holding on to wallets and submitting transactions to blockchains at large scale and handling lots of transaction volume before it hits the chain. This isn't infrastructure that's cheap to build, or for that matter, cheap to get access to so you can build your own products leveraging these tools. And so that's one of the key features that we built into One Shot. Really well built and crafted hot wallet infrastructure that you can build into AI agents and bots, or really any application written in any language. You can use our API to generate signing keys that can submit any kind of transaction to the blockchain for your users. It's really up to your imagination how to use them. So that's one core feature. The other core feature is we've built One Shot API as a tool factory. So you can expose smart contracts on any EVM blockchain. You can expose them as tools and resources for AI agents. So if you're building a chatbot or you're building some kind of an application where a user wants to talk to you in natural language, you can use One Shot to abstract away from your product all the complexities of like, well, what contract or what project do I need to talk to on the blockchain, and how do I use it? We actually expose that to agents and applications as really easy to use and consume tools, which makes creating user experiences that are more natural. It makes it really easy to do. So that's what we're doing. We're doing this hackathon. We want to see how people use it. And cash prizes at the end for the best and most interesting projects. Cash prizes we're handing out in USDT, so hopefully that's kind of a cool thing for participants. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to walk through a couple of things. Let's see, share screen. I'm going to share my entire screen. There we go. Okay, so if you pin my screen share, you'll be able to see what I'm doing here. So, Charlie, can you just confirm? Can you see that my screen share is coming through in yours? Okay, great. All right, so first place to start. Everybody here is probably new to our platform. I'd be surprised if you've seen it before since we just came out a couple of weeks ago. First thing you're going to want to do to get started with the hackathon, you're going to want to go to oneshotapi.com and make a free account, sign up, log in with the username or password or Google. And the first time you do this, it's going to prompt you to make an organization. Just give your organization a name and an icon, and it'll bring you into the platform. Over here on the sidebar, these are your main tools over here. So we've got endpoints. Endpoints, these are how you expose smart contracts on various networks as tools, either to your application or to your agents. The second thing is, once you've executed transactions against these endpoints, you'll be able to see your transaction history across all your endpoints, all of the wallets that you've generated. You can see them over here. So you can go through your history. You can search for ones that you've done in the past based on the chain that it was submitted to, and against different API keys that you might have provisioned, which brings me to the next thing, API keys. So one of the first things you want to do after creating an account, create a new API key pair. The name isn't super important. I like to name my API keys based on the date that I create them. And then once you've got that API key, we're gonna save those because we're gonna put them into our starter repo that I'm gonna walk through next. So we got our API key, we have a key, and we have a secret. We're gonna need both of those. And the last thing that you want to do before you leave the platform, you want to provision a free escrow wallet. So I was describing at the beginning of the call, this is our hot wallet infrastructure. So this would let you build your own exchange or stablecoin bank. You could build it entirely just off the escrow wallet's feature itself. So we create a new wallet, name it so that maybe we can look it up from the API later, provide a description for why you created it. If you're creating escrow wallets on a per user basis for your application, you might put in here a note for like a user ID or something, which user it belongs to. Not super important right now, but the last thing you do is choose which chain you want the escrow wallet associated with. So for instance, I want to create a hot wallet for the Sepolia network. If I hit confirm, OneShot will generate a hot wallet for you instantly. And you can make as many of these as you want. If you want to do a wallet per user in your application, you can certainly have as many hot wallets as users you have in your platform. And you can see details about the wallet if you go into details. And you can see things like your wallet ID, which you would need to reference the wallet from our API, and the actual account address. You'll want to fund this. You'll want to fund this wallet with some network tokens. So for instance, Sepolia, I'd want to put a little bit of Sepolia ETH in here, which I can get from a faucet, so that I can fund the transactions that I'm going to submit from this wallet. Actually, there's one more thing I wanted to go through, a piece of information you'll need typically when you're calling OneShot from your application. I said earlier that the first time you create an account on OneShot, it makes you generate an organization. So if you come over here to your user tab and go to organizations, so now we're on the organizations tab, you'll see all the orgs that you've created. So here's the one that I've been working in. If I click on details, I can add team members to my organization so we can work on the same project together. And there's also an organization ID. You'll want to save that as well, and we're going to put that into our application environment variables. So that is a quick run through just of the bare basics of OneShot, which you will need for the projects for the OneShot Arcathon. Another tool that you're probably going to want to use, because we want our projects to be exposed to the internet so that we can receive, for instance, webhook callbacks, which is something that OneShot does for you when you submit a transaction. OneShot will deliver confirmation callbacks to your app so that it knows exactly when your transaction was confirmed. You don't have to sit there and do polling. It's much more efficient. We want to use a tool called ngrok, or at least that's the one that I suggest. It's also a free tool. So if you go to ngrok.com, you can sign up for a free account here. This is a tunneling service. So this allows you to run a tunneling agent next to your application so that you can reach the application from the internet. Super useful tool, even outside of OneShot. Tunneling agents are super useful for developing websites and bots and whatever you want to develop on your local machine. So inside of ngrok, once you create an account, it'll give you an auth token, which you'll input into your application environment variables. And to make things easy, if you come down to the domains tab, you can create one free static URL, which I've already done. Just click new domain and it will generate you automatically one free static URL. This is super useful because between restarts of your application, you'll always get the same URL every time you restart it. So for instance, here's my static URL. I'm going to be using that in just a minute. So do that. Takes a couple of seconds to make an ngrok account and get your auth token and your static URL. Totally free. Okay, so let's go to the starter repo that we put together for this hackathon. This starter repo is meant to demonstrate creating a working Telegram bot. But just so everybody knows, you're not limited in this competition to creating Telegram bots. We certainly encourage it, but it is not a requirement. However, this starter repo shows you how to do everything that you could possibly want to do, at least in Python, with one-shot API, how to handle callbacks, how to authenticate them, calling any of the endpoints that one-shot exposes. All of that is shown how to do in the starter repo. And the instructions that I'm going through here on this call, they're also outlined in written format in their entirety here in the README of the starter repo. So I've already cloned this thing. If I bring it up, if you clone that to your local machine, okay, so we've got, here's our actual source code written in Python. And we've got a few things that I've already put together for you for running a Docker stack. If you're not super familiar with Docker, that's okay. Pretty much all you need to do is follow the directions in the README. And if you have trouble, you can message us in the One-Shot API group, and we will help you out either on a video chat or back and forth in messages. Everything you need is in here, and if you input the credentials that we just went through into the Docker Compose environment file, this starter repo should just work for you. And then your only task basically is to edit the source code to implement the project that you have the idea for the hackathon. So here's some of the credentials that we just went over. One-shot API key, one-shot API secret. We generated a couple of those. Our one-shot business ID. Let's just go through really quickly and enter a few of those. So if I come back to one-shot, first let's grab my business ID. I'll copy that, take it back over here. I'll paste that one in. Let's go back to our API keys. Here's the one that I just generated. I'll copy first the key. Oops. Copy first the key. Let's paste the key in here. And then lastly, let's get the secret. Copy that. Oh, not that one. Copy that. Come back over here. Paste in the secret. Let's take care of the tunneling credentials. So here's our static URL. Let's put that in there. So if we click on our endpoint, let's copy that. Paste it in. And let's be sure that we put HTTPS in front of it. That's important. So we know that we are going to have safe communications with the outside world. And then let's put our ngrok token. So let's go over here to our auth token tab. Let's copy that. Put that in here. And then lastly, wrong slot. Lastly, we're going to generate for the purposes of running this demo repo, we want to generate a Telegram bot token because we're going to use Telegram as like the interface for this little application. So I'm going to walk you through how to do that. So if we open Telegram, there's a special bot called BotFather, which there's a link to the BotFather in the README. If you come to the README, direction number 1, or number 2, I suppose. Next stop is to use the BotFather. If you click that link in the README, it will take you straight to a chat with the BotFather. Here's where you register new bots. It's super easy to do, totally free, just takes a few seconds. So if we do new bot, we execute the new bot command inside of Telegram. We'll name it. Please choose a name for your bot. So we'll call this one One Shot Arcathon Demo Bot. That's what we're going to name it. Now we're going to choose a username. I'll just use the same username, One Shot Arcathon Demo Bot. Okay, doesn't like that one, so we need to do, I don't think it likes numbers, so One Shot dash Demo Bot. Let's try that. One Shot Arcathon Demo Bot. Arcathon Demo Bot. Like that. Arcathon. Let's try that. It's got to end in bot. There we go. Bot. There we go. Okay. So now we've created a demo bot. And as soon as you give it a username and a screen name, it will automatically generate for you a access token. So this access token, all we need is that one credential. We copy that and take it to our starter repo and paste it here in Telegram bot. There we go. We're set up. We are set up and we can run this example without editing any more of the source code. Come back here real quick. Let's go and talk. Let's start a conversation with our demo bot. So now this would be the chat where I could talk with the bot that I just created with the BotFather. So we're going to come back here in just a second. We're now ready to spin up our example repository. So if we come back to the README, first we're going to build. First step, really only have to do this once unless you edit with the dependencies in the requirements.txt. If you've written Python before, you're familiar with the requirements.txt file. So first step is we are going to build our runtime. So let's do Docker compose build Telegram service. It'll give you some warnings. Those aren't important. It will sit here and build. It'll take a few seconds, and then we're ready to run it. Okay, so now we're built. The next step is to bring the Docker stack up. It's only going to create 2 lightweight containers. One of them is the ngrok tunneling agent, which allows our application to be reachable by both Telegram and OneShot. And the other container is actually the bot container that runs our source code logic. So let's do sudo docker compose, and we want to attach our environment variables. So env file, docker compose dot env. Remember, that's this guy over here. It's got all our credentials in it. So sudo docker compose env file. There's our environment file. Then lastly, up -d. So this is going to bring the stack up, and -d means daemon mode. So it's going to detach and run in the background. So let's run that. There we go. And now if you also see in the README, there's a hint that, okay, well, while it's running, I can look at what's happening inside of the application container by running docker sudo docker logs -F for follow. We want to follow what's happening in it. Telegram. And there we go. That's about what it should look like. And if you see here, when the bot starts up, it automatically, in the logic, as part of the startup, it will check that you have a Sepolia escrow wallet. And if you don't, it will give you a message that you need to go and create one. Because without the escrow wallet, the bot can't run, so it'll exit. It will also create for you, if it doesn't exist, it will create for you one endpoint for a contract that we've already deployed for you that's ready to be used for deploying ERC20 tokens on Sepolia. And you can see here that I've already done this before, so the endpoint exists, and so it's skipping the creation step. So it's running now. We're ready to go. If we come back to Telegram, to our demo bot that we just created, to the conversation, we can say start, and this ought to work. So if I hit start, there we go. Come back over here. There's the OK 200 from Telegram. That's us talking to the bot. And so we can say deploy a token. And this shows you how to do a conversational flow in Telegram. This is like a realistic conversational user flow that lots of bots implement. This one in particular shows how to deploy or how to ask a user for inputs that you would need to deploy an ERC20 token on their behalf. So what do we want to name it? One-shot demo token. What do you want the ticker symbol to be? We'll just say one-shot. Give a description for your token. This is our first token of the one-shot Arcathon. Every great token needs an image, so we will give it an image to display with it. Send that. And then lastly, how many tokens do you want to mint when it's deployed? Let's say 21 million. There we go. And so at that point, you can see down here, our bot called one shot. There's our transaction execution ID. If we come back over to one shot, to the transaction history, here we go. That is our deploy token call that our bot made to our business account. And then this was generated by a callback, a webhook callback to our bot to say, yeah, the token mined, here's the information. And it even shows you in the source code how to do hyperlinks. And so we did a hyperlink straight to the block scanner. There's our 21 million one shot at that contract address. And right here, you can see here's where one shot hit the endpoint that is reachable through ngrok. All of it is ready for you to go right here in the starter repo. Just re-emphasizing, all you need to do to get started is get credentials from one shot, make a free ngrok account, get an auth token, and then set up a Telegram bot and go from there. So I will stop the screen share at this point. Let's go to, where are we? Over here. So that's the basics of getting started. I want to reemphasize, even though our starter repo was emphasizing Telegram bot applications, you are not limited to just creating Telegram bots. You can do agents with, for instance, the GOAT SDK, which we have already created a plugin if you want to use the GOAT Finance SDK for doing conversational agents with, for instance, ChatGPT. Pydantic AI is also a great toolkit for wrapping API calls and putting them inside of a conversational agent. All of these are open to you as contestants. And to reemphasize, top projects get cash prizes in USDC. So we're excited to see what you build. At this point, that concludes the onboarding introductory call for the hackathon. We're going to have several mentor speaking slots for the next 3 days from professionals that work in technology companies across the world, including Silicon Valley. They're going to have short prepared talks to go over areas of expertise of theirs, but then they'll open it up for questions from the participants, anything you want to talk about that fits in their wheelhouse, they'll be happy to go over with. We will record those sessions as well so that people that miss it can come back and watch. So we're excited for that too. At the end of the hackathon in 3 days, we will take all of these submissions and score them, and then we will announce the winners the next day. So thanks, everyone. Looking forward to what you create, and we will sign off from here. Good luck.